Whoa, hello everyone. Welcome to my TEDx talk. Let me just take a deep breath and look at everybody that stayed until the very end. And I really, really thank you for that. I've been to several TEDx talks before, but this is the first time that I've seen so many of you guys that stay until the very end. And thank you for that again. Please give yourselves an applause. Okay, so let me begin. My title for my talk is The Moves That Have Made Me. And it's based on, and I want to tell you about the concepts of growth mindset, what growth mindset is, and how you can implement it into your life, especially when you are really young. And those that can understand me right now in English can apply in your lives. Okay, so first of all, in a really respectful manner, do you know who I am? Yes, thank you. So those that do know me, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you so much. Okay. I've got a really participative crowd here. To introduce myself to those that do not know me, I'm founder of Nhà IELTS. I've been creating TikTok content, educating people for 5 years now. And I just recently, although I hide this from people, is that I just graduated from university just like 2 months ago, which I believe is quite an achievement of itself. And the fact that during our labor market today, I'm not unemployed right after graduation. And I really appreciate that. That's it about me. I want to tell you about a growth mindset and how you can grow in your life. Okay, let's get started. So, over the past century, a powerful idea has taken its roots in the educational landscape. I'm new to this landscape. However, this idea is relatively new, especially in Vietnam too. It's the growth mindset. What is it? Growth mindset, it sounds like it's necessary for you to grow, right? So the growth mindset is simple. It's the idea of intelligence as something that can be developed over time instead of fixed or innate. So raise your hand if you know about the IQ tests, the IQ test IQ, intelligence quotient. Okay, so over the course of your life, you can take the IQ test multiple times. I do too. When I was in fourth grade in Quy Nhơn, I took my first IQ test. I scored 122 at the time. And then when I was in sixth grade, so 2 years later, I took it again. And this time I got 130. And they asked me, the website, do you want to pay 30,000 dong per month to be on the Vietnamese high IQ society? And I said yes. So it like every month, it deducts 30K dong from my mom's bank account without she knowing. But well, it continued on for 2 years until she scolded me for it. So after that, I just retake it again, and it just increased. And well, that's the easiest way to understand the growth mindset. So your intellectual ability, growth mindset, it contrasts nicely with the fixed mindset. Like, oh, okay, I'm good. No, I'm bad. I'm good at studying. Oh, no, I'm bad at studying. I'm good at music. Oh, no, I'm actually really bad at music. Your ability can change over time. So the fixed mindset, the developers of the intelligence quotient tests or people that were involved in developing the first IQ tests, they were proponents, they support the fixed mindset. Of course, because it would be really nice and really convenient if there was a way to measure your intelligence, and then you will fall into a particular socio-economic class at the time. So the IQ tests, the first ones, the first versions, the really like preliminary versions, really like, yeah, preliminary versions, they were developed back in the 18th century by Alfred Binet. And then 18th century, what happened? Industrial revolution, right? It makes sense because like people did not move around much. Most people, they are born a place and then they fall into that hierarchy of the society. They don't, the social mobility was not a thing, right? You would either be a peasant for your whole life or you would, be royalty for your life. But then it all changed and it's no longer the case now. Well, throughout my life, I moved a lot. I spent 2 years of my life right here in Quy Nhơn City. Then I came back to Ho Chi Minh City. I moved to the USA. I moved to Australia for education, to Singapore because like there were some credits that they have to travel to Singapore to study. So my life changes a lot. And you guys here, a lot of you study in Lê Quý Đôn High School for the Gifted or Quốc học Quy Nhơn, or really good high schools here in Bình Định, in former Bình Định and in Gia Lai province now. You guys have the potential to be anything, seriously, because you guys can be anything as long as you put effort into it. So let me continue with my TEDx speech. So schools all over the world currently, and the education system, it talks about heroes, talks about people that simply believe themselves to the top. Well, Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, who skipped Harvard altogether to pursue his dream, to pursue what he ultimately believes in, right? Me too. There was a time that I skipped university to build my brand, to build my TikTok channel. Well, however, there are some, challenges as well as some application errors to the growth mindset. So let's talk about it and how we can actually grow in our lives and how I did, The growth mindset, it's emphasized the importance of not ability, but effort. It emphasizes the importance of not focusing on your ability, your scores, your marks right now, but focus on what? The effort that you put into it. Okay? Now remember that because it's gonna be really critical in your understanding of the growth mindset. Students, this was the work done by Carol Dweck over at Stanford University in the USA. Okay, so there was this research design, famous one, of the growth mindset in which Carol Dweck proved this concept. Students were split into two groups, one with the fixed mindset and one group were instilled with the growth mindset. Those that were in the fixed mindset group were instilled and praised based on their ability, so their academic achievement at the time. For example, you got a 10, okay, congratulations, you got a 10. And for those that were in the growth mindset, they were instilled with the idea that the effort was what mattered. Okay, you got a 10, right? Congratulations, because you put a lot of effort into it. Okay, you got a 9, right? Still, congratulations, you did a really good job. And you put a lot of effort into it, and I really admire your effort. Okay, so students who are praised on their effort naturally put more efforts into their work. Okay? And meanwhile, students who are praised on their intellectual ability, their marks, their score currently they have, they tend to believe in the misassumption that success or failure was predetermined. Predetermined in the competition, okay, who enters the competition or the contest with me? How is my current performance stack up against them currently? That's gonna determine the outcome. That was the case for me, and I understand that is also the case for a lot of people, especially young people in this day and age. Yet, the idea of the growth mindset is relatively new in Vietnam. I had the chance to chat with this student right here, right now. This I'm adding onto my speech. I had a chance to talk with like this student from right here, right over there during the tea break. I asked her, okay, what do you want for your IELTS score? She told me that she wanted an 8. I said, okay, that's a lot of effort, but I believe you can do it. She said, I'm in an English major class, but I'm relatively weaker compared to my classmates. I said, well, you can put effort into becoming better and put more effort into the growth mindset. So, what was that to say? Students, you are pretty good. Y'all are from gifted high schools here in Vietnam. However, the idea of the growth mindset is relatively new to you. Why is that? Because it's not often talked about right here, and the fact that the government put it into the university entrance exam show that they are trying to popularize this idea. Correct? Okay, next up, the greatest challenge to promoting the growth mindset of actually growing as students. What is the challenge towards it? The challenge is the education system itself. Well, this is not to say that our education system is inferior or superior. It's actually the nature of how the assessments are designed. It would be really weird to reward themselves on how hard people try. And it's essentially not intuitive to do so, right? Okay, you put a lot of effort into it. You spent 72 hours on studying, you get a 72. That's not good, right? That's not intuitive. Oh, you spent 72 hours on studying versus you spent 16 hours on studying. You got a head start. You make up for the beginning of the semester where you didn't study. So the one who studied for 16 hours actually got a 10, while the one who spent 72 hours got a 9. Decent, worth her work, but it's not intuitive, right? It does not reflect their effort. Okay, so do we need to fix this? No, it's good. Continuous assessments has proven itself to be better than a big exam at the end of a semester. It's proven itself to be more effective at what? Judging students' performance and judging their effort. However, we are here. Some of us are teachers. Some of us are educators. A lot of us are parents. We should reward ourselves and our students based on their effort, the amount of effort that they put in. Well, so how growth mindset can be applied? And this part are for the students. The growth mindset, it should not be misappropriated with the self-esteem movement. It should not. It should also not be misapplied just to make students feel good. Oh, you got a 6. Okay, you got a 9. However, you put a lot of effort into it, so you deserve some praise. Mm, it it should be recognized as okay, you're able to grow. Put more work into it next time. Well, we are not trying to impress anybody, but to grow the most out of our innate ability, would say those that are proponents of the fixed mindset. Okay. So how did I embrace the growth mindset? how did I grow over time? This is my story, and how growth mindset has enabled me to essentially come from a humble beginning to a normal person. Actually, because because I shared a similarity with you. When I received the TED invitation, I felt really it felt really personal to me, because I essentially spent years of my life here, and Wynyang is a beautiful city, of course. So I had to take the decision to come here, do the TED. Okay, that was me in fifth grade. So me in fifth grade just moved back to Ho Chi Minh City after my primary school years in Quy Nhơn, and I moved back in the second semester of fifth grade to Ho Chi Minh City. Among my classmates in Ho Chi Minh City, I heard discussions about, oh, um, Trần Đại Nghĩa High School for the Gifted entrance exam, and they talked highly of Trần Đại Nghĩa High School for the Gifted. It's among two high schools for the gifted in the country to offer secondary education as well. Trần Đại Nghĩa High School for the Gifted in Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi, Amsterdam High School for the Gifted in Hanoi, right? So I feel like this is something that I could, embrace, try it on for a while, right? And I was cheered on by my parents. Okay, put your best effort forward. And if you get in, we will not attend the school. We are too far away from the school. I just returned to Ho Chi Minh City from Quy Nhơn. The education system, it's completely different. Quy Nhơn force the teachers in Quy Nhơn, especially in secondary school, really in primary school, really forces me to study hard on math, not literature, but math and English. I didn't know the Training High School for the Gifted, what it would test, essentially. However, I gave it my all for 3 months with the support of my cousins, who still, until this very day, still tell me stories about it. They helped me install softwares, helped me to do mathematics in English. And I got in. I was in the top 80 students of that intake. I got in. The score to get in was 71. I got 79. I was in the top 80. What that means was that I would get some scholarship um, from the German government to study German for free. So during my secondary school years, I studied three languages: Vietnamese, English, and German. Ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen. Ich habe ein B2 Certificate im Deutsch. That's it. I can speak German. Okay, I just kind of memorize a sentence. Okay, anyway, I got in, but everybody was really good. I was in the top 80, and the top 80 was split into two classes, both studying German, right? I was in the top 80, which means I'm the least good of the 80 students that got into the two classes. Well, it was my sixth grade and seventh grade were disastrous, you know. I didn't know what growth mindset were at the time. People were trying. I were trying too, but essentially I were at the bottom of the list constantly. I quickly fell behind on everyone. I mất gốc. Seriously. I mất gốc toán, I mất gốc văn, I mất gốc English. Yeah. I already mất gốc in grade 6, grade 7. So in grade 8, I gave everything my all again. I study for 30 hours per week, more than my currently subordinates, my employees work. I study for 30 hours per week of extra classes, not including the hours of official school. I also chose chemistry as my major. I also chose the IELTS, and both the IELTS and chemistry actually shaped how I view the world today. And as you guys may know, I or do not know, my 5 year of content creation journey, and as well as my internet personality, it all started with me coming back to Vietnam, participating in fighting COVID. I was amongst those testing RT-PCR for the Vietnamese people because I worked in a medical lab in the US, specializing in RT-PCR. So I have some experience testing RT-PCR. The only difference is in the US, I tested RT-PCR, I móc mũi. I tested RT-PCR for what? Prisoners, to verify their DNA with the ones from the crime scene. Okay? In Vietnam, I tested on Vietnamese people. That was it. Okay. So chemistry, right? It's my content creation started right there from chemistry. I gave everything. I gave everything my all. For 2 years, I studied 30 hours of extra classes per week for 2 years, and I got second ranked in the high school for the gifted entrance exam. I got second ranked to my best friend. He was first ranked. Actually, he started off a bit more stronger than I was because he didn't muck up in 6th grade and 7th grade. He had a run. Okay. And I got 7.5 IELTS when I was 14. And this is not impressive by any mean, but to be standing amongst you guys, I'm at least a normal person from my humble beginning. None of these decisions to give everything my all, to choose IELTS, everybody was choosing another exam. They were choosing TOEFL. They were choosing TOEFL IBT at the time. However, I chose IELTS to give everything my all. If I chose TOEFL, it would be more different. However, I'd be talking about I was born in 2009, but I started studying TOEFL like that. Okay, but once you believe in what you choose, you believe in the goal, and you put effort into it, then it starts gradually. It starts to become the reality, your reality. So, to sum up everything I've said here today, you're not the result of who you want to be, but you are the result of your consistency, of what you repeatedly choose to do. That is my TEDx. Thank you for coming here and staying until the very end.